Welcome back. This is stage 6 of the 7 crits in 8 days. It's Saturday. It is 42 degrees and we're off to Albert Park to race here with St Kilda Cycling Club on the Grand Prix hot dog circuit. Cannot wait.
But before we head there, let's go check out what happened in part 2 of the 7 and 8 challenge. Stage 4 kicked off down at the Teardrop just off the Kew Boulevard with Hawthorn Cycling Club. It was a bit of a warm night, quite windy. Brooker was fighting me for wheels for 16th position down the back. Didn't make things easy. And it was 1,000 watts constantly up that berg. You know what it's like. Al Donahue was a pest, an absolute menace, but it was great to get around, the boys to get around us. There's Nick Squalari wishing us well, checking in to seeing how all we were going in the 7 to 8. We were pretty cooked by this stage, and we weren't getting any help from other riders. As you can see here, abuse was thrown left, right and centre. That's all part and parcel, but unfortunately the race was red flagged due to a nasty crash, which called off the race. Really disappointing way to end. Hope the riders are well. I know they're slowly getting back on the bike, which is great to hear. Meanwhile, in B grade, Speedy and Nicko were flying, riding really, really strong. Those boys haven't ridden a Hawthorn in a while, and it definitely didn't show. They were riding really strong, taking this corner nice and fast. Speedy even got in a couple of attacks. So did Nicko, won most aggressive and picked up a couple of points, which is great to see. Since we didn't get a full race in, for some reason we decided to do a quick bully smash, which was in fact harder than the race. Crazy times. I don't know why we did it, one of the dumbest things we've done. But once we were finished, we made our way back home and started to prepare ourselves for stage 5 down at Southern Masters Cycling Club at the Sandown Racecourse for a massive old smash. Now, unfortunately, we weren't allowed to run cameras, so maybe this photo might sum things up. Yep. That's a photo of 3 very dejected individuals. Brooker got the points. Speedy rode really, really well. I had a rough old time. Thankfully, the next day was the day off, the rest day, the transfer day. We had a quick interview to check in with the boys. What was the worst time you've had?
The ride back was grim.
The ride back was rough.
I'm going to say 2 hours, dark, didn't have my glasses, couldn't see a thing.
The different vibe and culture in each race that the club has. Glenvale and Hawthorn are very serious.
Yeah, business. Yeah, it's fair.
There's not mucking around. People are willing to go all out to get a win there.
They'll abuse you in a race at Hawthorn.
Yeah, I get every crit. Every crit I'll cop abuse. And
We've seen that.
Enough.
We have seen that.
They definitely abuse you at Hawthorn.
Hawthorn, they really seem to like people holding the wheel.
I'm very nervous about St Kilda. It's going to be 37 degrees.
Oh. Yeah, you're not good in the heat.
That's not good for you.
Not good in the heat. I'm going to bring some ice stockings, I reckon.
Yep.
For the feed zone.
Yeah, if anyone wants to hand me one. Or just throw ice at me, probably. Oh man, it's a hot one though. 42 degrees it reads on my Garmin. And if there's one thing that I'm allergic to, apart from holding the wheel, that would be heat. I hate it. It's a screaming northerly, so it's going to be full power tonight. But Twilight Crit, you don't get them very often, hey? It's so much fun. There's going to be a whole bunch of people down here. Beers are going to be flowing. Abuse is going to be thrown. I can't wait. We had the rest day yesterday, which was so nice. I finally slept. Hopefully the legs are somewhat recovered. We're off to meet Brooker now. He's going to meet us on Beach Road. We're going to watch the girls race first, which I can't wait for them to put on a show. And then we're up. Let's go. Before we do skip ahead, let's quickly break down the total score from Thursday night. Brooker's pulled away a little bit further and now distanced me by up to 15 points. It's going to be hard to claw that back. Speedy's closed the gap. There's only 5 points difference there. He's on third, and then there's Nicko trailing, still on 8 points, but stranger things have happened. Can he pick up a couple of bonus points today and tomorrow? There's only one way to find out. Hey, Brooker, where would you rather be?
Not a hard question, mate.
Any ice rods?
No ice rods. I probably should have put an ice rod in, actually. I've got some at home. Actually, maybe, I think Nate's got mine.
Definitely an ice rod.
Talk me through what an ice rod is, because it sounds very provocative.
We're not going to talk about that. We'll keep this PG. Let's wait for the race. Bit of rain around, so hopefully we can get a race on. Let's go.
How you feeling?
Terrible. This is like, what is it? 40. Oh, it's actually a bit cooler now. 37. 37's not bad, but
Not good.
it's still too hot. I'm not interested in this.
34 windy.
So Cel, it's a big race today, stage 7, wait, 6 of 7? 6 of 7. Well, it's one of them. No, it's one of them. How, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how buckled has Nicko told you that he is? And how much will he not let you forget it?
I'll never, ever, ever. I'm okay with that. For the rest of my life, I'll be hearing about it.
And Odette, prediction for Nick to win today?
I hope he hangs in there. He better be there at the finish. We're expecting a 1,000 watt plus sprint.
And do we think that Nick is going to, maybe hold the wheel? What about Steve? Will he have to move up?
I think Steve better fucking hold the wheel.
A lot of pressure on Steve, I feel.
A lot of pressure on Steve.
Okay, so it's all business. You've got full TT, not even any pockets. Okay, so this is a very serious race. In the esky, full thing of ice. This is a proper setup. Okay, what else we got in here? Gels. Yeah, that's good. That's for later on tonight at Revs. All your gels ready to go. Good. Fuck, this is proper serious.
We'll probably run over.
They're really good.
What did you bring?
What have I got? I got a bottle of steam.
Any mix in that, or is that just tap water?
There's mix in here, but I need something to put into it. Yeah, I'll fill it up at the Dunnies. Yeah. Food-wise, snakes. These things are good.
Yeah, throw those in the bin.
Yeah.
But did you see what Forbes did?
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
proper shit. Oh, and 2 Red Bulls in the car as well.
Well, compared to Forbesy, my setup was extremely amateur. No Red Bulls for me, just running on hopes and dreams, a couple of snakes, SulNutrition, and a muesli bar. And I needed everything and more because it was the hottest race I can remember racing in. 40 degrees, it was out on the course. Screaming northerly, you can see on the map on the right-hand side. So in this part of the course, it was super fast as we're riding directly with the wind in a tailwind. But as soon as you went the other way, bang, straight into a headwind, or rather a hairdryer is what it more felt like. This was a race of 2 halves, and I felt I was extremely animated in the first half of this race, and then some things started to change. The second part of this race was just pure survival. I'll be recording this in clips, so I'll be skipping forward and just looking at a few different segments that I thought were interesting. And this is one here. A lot of the times there was huge passing lanes where everyone was protected on the inside here, and I just managed to move up 15 or so bike lengths. You have to, let the riders know that you are coming up on the inside because it's not a predictable way to overtake here in Australia. So just let them know it's courtesy. Maybe a tap on the bum or just saying I'm on your left is always a nice thing to do. As we come into the bottom corner here, so as you can see in the map, it is a hot dog circuit, so you're doing 2 hairpins on both sides. But Kilda have done quite well, and they've spaced out. It's not just one witch's hat. You'll see in a second. They've kind of spaced it up so you can get a bit of a run at. Similar to the teardrop, I guess. So this corner, first time going into it, I haven't ridden the course up until now, and I completely overcooked the corner. I run it wide and run out of space, end up on the grass.
Oh no, oh no.
Had a shocker right at the very start of this race, but look, it's like when you're playing a game of footy, you get rid of all your bad kicks. At the start of the game, I get rid of all my bad cornering. Well, I seem to think it's the start of the race, but it never happens that way. Enough of that, let's skip into a bit of the action. We'll go from there. Okay, we've skipped to 9 minutes 40 into this race. Still plenty of time left. We're in the tailwind part of the section. I just want to point out a bit of movement in the peloton, how you can go about moving the peloton. So look at Forbesy here. We've seen him earlier in the pre-race video. Watch him move around in the peloton. Flick of the head, letting you know where he wants to go. and he's gone from inside to outside with a couple of head flicks. Maybe he picked that up in Belgium. Who knows? But I didn't mind that little trick. I do get grumpy at Forbesy on the odd occasion for the way he rides, but I absolutely respect his ability to move in the peloton. The guy is an absolute animal. We come around this bottom corner, I take the inside line, trying to cut Elliot. It's a slow ride on the inside. You lose a whole bunch of pace, then you end up going backwards. Now look at Forbesy here. He's entered that corner quite far in front of me, but he knows that the peloton's all going to be strung together, so why waste any watts sprinting onto the wheel in front of you? He's entered it, let's just say hypothetically, in top 10. He'll then exit top 10 and then soft pedal and finish up at the back of the peloton, which then allows him to save energy and move his way back to the front of the race, so he's ready for that next attack. Just a bit of an interesting thing that I noticed there. As you can see, 3 riders, 2 from Duda have gone off the front here, and I'm sitting on Elliot's wheel, who's a proper strong rider. And when you're on a strong rider like this, you really have no option. You just may as well, if you've got the legs anyway, just go for it. And he puts in a monster effort. Now, my heart rate, check that. That is redlining right now, 180 beats, and we're only 12 minutes into this race. We've caught 2 of those riders that have gone up the front. There's still 1 Duda rider up the road, but Elliot hasn't looked around yet, and he hasn't noticed that he's dragging the entire peloton across with him. Although little splits are now forming. We've got Time Shannon on my wheel. He's a guy with monster watts as well. And a couple of other riders have known this could be a bit of a threat, but little breaks and little splits are starting to form with very early in this race. It's a worrying sign, and you know, one must just think it all has to do with the heat playing a major factor in the energy levels and the response of all the riders out there today. But I've essentially burnt a match holding on to Schultz's wheel here, and I don't want to just get spat out the back. You can see Brooker there. He's putting a little bit of a counter in coming into this corner. So I'm going to just dab on the throttle and make sure I hold my position coming into this corner, hitting it with speed, 42 kilometers an hour, railing that corner, spits me out with speed, almost crashing into the back of this rider in the black kit, and bang, we're on the pedals.
Go, 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 go.
I yell at him to try to follow the move, but he refuses, so it's forced me to get up there. But I'm peaking. I'm absolutely cooking. We've got Tommy Butler here, who's a monster rider at Hawthorn, won several crits this year. I'm asking him to do the majority of the work, but man, everyone's looking around. Everyone's cooked. I know that gap looks very small, and it is. But the fact is that heat, you don't understand, plays a massive factor in this race. Gaps that look tiny are actually double the distance because you're that much more cooked. I do what I can, little micro effort, flick the elbow, forcing someone else to come across. With Forbesy stalking my wheel, never leaving the front of the race. He's waiting for the right moment to attack. Looking back at this footage many months after it's been recorded, I'm genuinely disappointed with how I raced. I was all over the shop. I'm like launching attacks from miles away to try to chase moves when my heart rate's already maxing out. Why didn't I just sit in? There are much stronger riders in this race. Get them to do the work. I can be the one that follows. I shouldn't be one that's starting these moves to get across, because this is exactly what happens. I try to spark it up with my heart rate already maxed out and just get ridden right over the top of, like what's happening now. Look at Speedy. Unlike me, he's riding a nice controlled effort to bring Alex and the rest of the group across. Meanwhile, I'm sprinting out of the saddle to try to spark something up, and the only thing that I'm spiking is my heart rate. Here we go into the top corner. Let's see how we go. Outside line this time because I've got no other option. Forced wide, which means you can carry a bit of speed through, but because you're taking that longer line, you just lose you lose spaces. You lose position on the bike, which means you're going to have to put an extra few watts in to make that up. And that just is little matches that you burn that you don't necessarily need to if you rode it smart, is what costs me in this race. We've skipped ahead just another couple of minutes and my heart rate is maxing out, 188 beats. I'm not putting any watts through the pedals, but my heart rate is set permanently at a cruise control of 180 plus beats per minute. I just can't get it down, and that's the real effect that riding in 40 degrees heat can do to your body if you are not acclimatized to doing that. Maybe it's time I get to the sauna or put on some tracksuit pants and jumpers and get on the kicker with no fan to try to improve that heat adaptation. It's tough riding out there today. Brooker's been relatively safe in this race so far. He hasn't done all that much, but he's noticing that there's a few tired legs in and around a bunch, and he's worried about the current riders that are up the road, so he moves himself up to the front of the bike race, wanting to be, in those top 5 to 10 wheels where he can close gaps. He's forced wide there by Forbes. We take this corner. I'm behind Josh's teammate here. Couple of dabs at that corner, not great. Right to the gutter, back on the pedals, 1,000 watts right out of there, and you can see up the road, splits everywhere. But look where Forbes is. He's chilling. He's not too stressed about the whole situation. He's happy to save his matches for the right move that happens up the road. Let's just hope he doesn't miss out on his chance. But we are only 23 minutes into this race and about 30-ish Ks left to the end. There's still plenty of time for things to happen. And just on cue, things are starting to happen. I'm caught on the wrong side of the bunch, but can you see Brooker there on the right, bridging across to a few riders that are up the road? I see this as a threat, and I need to get up there. So I give Christian just a gentle nudge to let him know that I'm coming on the inside, and I open the throttle to get across to this move that's up the road. And there's like 8 riders in that makeup, so this could be the one that sticks. So I'm going all in to get across from that, keeping in mind that I'm going directly in a headwind in 40 degrees of heat. The hairdryer effect is real. Every breath I take, I feel like I'm getting cotton mouth. That's how hot it is. But I just got to get across. I look up for a moment, I go back down, try to get as aero as I possibly can. I'm counting the pedal strokes in my head, hoping that when I look up again, I'm going to be right up onto the back wheel, but it's not the case. Look in the rear cam, huge gaps have opened up, but still I'm not there yet. I know though, if I can maintain this gap to the group up the road, or even close it slightly, I can brake late coming into the corner and then sprint onto the wheel and get there. Now the problem is though, my heart rate. I am redlining. I'm on the rev limiter right now. My turbo is about to explode, but I think I've made it across. I think I've got there just at the right time. I enter this corner. I'm seeing red right now. I'm surprised I even am able to make it around this corner, but just as I do, look how close the bunch is behind me. All that work, I went so deep into this to get across to this move with an incredible makeup. It's got someone from every single team in this break, but yet, look in the rear cam, little gaps are opening up, but I'm cooked. I've got nothing, 195 beats. I'm not in a good place. I asked Marco to cover my move. He looks behind, he knows he has to go because, I've got no chance. I shake my head. Isaac in the rear cam, there's a whole bunch of paint face. But just as that happens, Forbesy gets across. He's brought everyone across. Everyone has realised that this is a threatening break, and they've shut it down. All that effort for nothing. And that's when Marco goes. He sensed weakness. Sai's gone up the road as well. Forbes is following that move, and gaps have already started to open up. Everyone's looking around, but it's just pain on everybody's face. I'm trying to dig deep here. Elliot's trying to dig deep. Brooker's trying to get across, as well as Tyne and Shannon, but there's just a lot of looking around. I'm not going to close it. You should close it. I'm cooked. I can't do it. I am literally in the hurt box right now. I'm just trying to keep those pedals turning over. Isaac goes. He gets nice and small and tries to bridge across. Josh flicks the elbow. I'm saying, mate, I'm peaking. There's no chance I can do any work. I do the double flick. James from Surge Coaching gives the flick. There's flicks going all the way to the back of the peloton, but no one wants to do any work. Isaac, does he make it across? He's almost there. He's gone so deep to make it there in this tailwind section, but as we come around this corner, that gap has exploded. The boys have just gone around that corner, and I reckon they're looking already at a 10-second gap. It has happened just like that. Is that race over? Well, you're going to have to stick around to find out.
That was slow.
I've been trying to keep the pace high, but look, poor Isaac wasn't able to get across. He's got to be fuming. Josh looks around, he's got to take matters into his own hands, but he looks fatigued as well, and rightly so. The man's done 6 crits almost back to back now. He's going to be cooked. Speedy's in the mix as well. He's riding really well to try to keep Alex in this race, but with all the firepower up the road, who's going to be the one that's going to be able to bring this race back? Josh is looking around, he's getting frustrated. Why isn't anyone doing any work? Well, mate, our heart rates are maxing out. I'm overheating. I'm trying to pour water over myself to cool the engine down, but I just can't cool down. I just cannot get that heart rate down. Every time I get out of the saddle, it spikes again. Let's see if a few more moves can actually bring this one back. We've been racing for 32 minutes now, and all the riders are on their hands and knees in this heat, tongues hanging out of their mouth. Nicko wants me to close gaps, but I've got nothing left. Everyone's in absolute agony now, and I've found myself right at the back of the bike race. I get a nice little touch and a push here from this lovely rider, but it's all too little too late. There's little attacks that go off the front, but nothing substantial, just little flickers that then people close down. I just wonder if we're a little bit more consistent and we're able to work together, could we bring this gap back? The riders in front, wow, they're riding really, really well. They're rolling consistent turns. It's all really smooth. Meanwhile, back in the peloton, you can see spikes up to 400 watts to shut gaps. Nicko out of the saddle, 700 watts to close gaps. All that does is spike the heart rate, and everyone stops pedaling, and it's rinse and repeat. I'm not sure when it was, and we're not going to speculate, but unfortunately Nicko retires from this race. Too hot for the man. He's calling it quits. Let's go check in with him.
Nicko, post-race interview. What would be acceptable but still... Thoughts, feelings, concerns?
Yeah, I'm concerned. I've got a doctor here, so that should be right.
Yeah.
That was right. Wasn't too bad. Just
who fucked up?
Speedy fucked up.
Oh, well, one more race tomorrow.
Yeah, one more. Tomorrow will be good, hopefully, if it doesn't rain. And then bed for 4 days.
Are you praying for rain so it gets
Yeah, I've prayed for rain all week.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, nothing.
All right, well, Grand Tour's nearly done.
Since that break's gone away, there's been little flickers of attacks go up the road, and the big magnet in front of me has been able to glue everything back together, and I'm just trying to do what I can to help pull through, so you know we can keep the chance alive of us bringing the break back. But the gap's been just growing little by little. As you can see, the boys there coming the other way, they've got a good, I'd say 40-second gap on us, 30-second gap maybe. And it's pretty much race over, but there's still the bunch sprint to be won. And who knows what could happen in that break. You've got to stay positive. It was only a couple of years ago I raced down here, and for me and Jamie, who recently did a double Everest, massive shout out to him, missed the break, but we fought so hard to get it back, and we managed to catch him in the last straight of the last lap. So there's always chances, and you just got to keep rolling, keep staying near the front, because that chance could open up and you need to be there for when it does. All right, we're soon approaching the bell lap, and look at these 3 riders still off the front in 40 degrees of heat. Simon, Forbesy and Marco have been toiling away for 30 minutes, and you can hear that ring-a-ding-ding on the left-hand side. That indicates this is the last lap. This is the bell lap. And it's safe to say those boys have got it. They're home and hosed, unless there's a little bit of foxing. Who knows what can happen? What we might do is we'll fast forward this to and skip forward to the final straight on the way home, and we'll pick things up from there. Okay, we'll pick it up here. You can see Forbesy is on the front there with Marco and Sai behind him. We're not too sure what's going to happen there, so let's look at the sprint for 4th. So we've been at this for over an hour now, and unfortunately that distance is a little bit wrong. This is the last lap, so we've probably got about a kilometre left. As I'm rubbing shoulders with Tommy Butler in the rear cam there, super strong rider. Now I'm wanting to stay in the top I don't want to leave 10th position. I don't want to fall too far back, and I want to make sure I stay in the draft. Let's see how I go. So we're coming at it. It's not super hot. 40 kilometers an hour coming into a headwind is not bad, and I'm just trying to find my spot. I tell this rider here, hey, that's my wheel, mate. And I'm sitting in Josh. I'm sitting pretty. Things are looking good. I know Josh is really good at, you know, staying within the bunch, but we're getting swarmed now, and I'm a little bit boxed in. So I move to the outside and try to find some space. Josh pushes me wide as well, but now I'm stuck right on the outer as we're coming into this sweeping right-hander, which means I'm in the wind. I am pushing wind, pushing 500 watts into the wind for zero reason. Here is the Duda train. I need to snap onto this. Oscar Gallagher, I still can't get there. I'm trying to get across to Josh, but I get forced wide here, and now I'm pushing 800 watts to try to hold the wheel, and there's still no entrance for me to get onto the wheel, and I've dropped 15 plus positions there whilst pushing all those watts, and I explode. 191 beats. That's an ultimate explosion. It's all over Red Rover for fresh crits, and unless something drastic happens tomorrow, which, you know, anything could happen, mechanicals or whatever, Josh is firmly in the lead on 37 points. Man, I am 15 points behind him, but there's a real battle between me and Speedy, only 7 points separating us there, and then Nicko in 4th on 8 points. Still, maybe a chance. Who knows what the man can do? And that's a wrap-up of the points. Let's have a chat to me, Steve, straight after the race.
Like, really got sketchy.
Post-race report, Blackie.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. As soon as the brake went, it was like the sting came out of the race. A few people tried to do moves, but it was never coming back with the 3 arguably strongest guys off the front.
And how are we feeling for day 6?
Tired. Yeah, really tired. I'll be glad once tomorrow's over and I can get sleeping back. Brooker took that sprint, the head-to-head. It just got too dangerous. Who won?
Well,
Little bit of drama about the finish in the race, so we're not going to speculate or go into too much detail about that in this video. But let's go check out to see how Josh is feeling post-race.
This is good. This is really good. This is good. How you going, mate?
You got me my lowest low.
Yeah, it's you rock. I haven't seen you rock bottom all week, but we're outside a 7-Eleven on Clarendon Street, lying down on a park bench.
I might just sleep here.
Hopefully you can still hear this. 8:58, 104 k's done. We've just finished St Kilda Crit. It was so hot. I'm exhausted. Like the rest they did nothing. And now we get up early and do it all again tomorrow. I'm flat. I'm tired. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. We'll see how we pull up tomorrow. That's probably because I've just woken up by a panicked Josh Brooker and the 7 and 8 crew. Glenvale's been cancelled. So I'm on Springvale Road to meet them, and we're going to race out at Easton. I don't even know where that is. I genuinely don't know where that is. So I'm going to meet them near Glenvale. We're going to ride in together, hopefully make the start time. I slept well. I slept till 8:30, and I would have slept longer if it wasn't for Brooker. It's windy, I'm tired, as always, but let's get this last one done. It's 9:30, I woke up an hour ago. Yeah. And we're on the way to Eastern Cycling Club. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to get there. I think Nicko's too far away to ride, so he'll drive in. which is fair enough. We'll give him, we'll exclude that, we'll look past that. I've seen a lot of dark yellow lights.
And fortunate for all those yellow lights, we managed to get to the start of the Eastern Criterium just in the nick of time. Like, I'm not even joking. It was, hey guys, we're racing in 2 minutes, get pinned up, put your light on and go. And then basically we're off. Hadn't even ridden the course yet, so we had really no idea what the course was or which way we were going. And for some reason we decided to ride the front, which you'll see shortly. But the crew was super nice. They've been tracking what we've been doing at the 7 and 8 Challenge. They were super stoked to have us down here today. And they were wanting to show us a good time, some fast and hard racing, and people just wanted to chat and hang out with us, which was so awesome. It's been such a great experience, this 7 and 8 crits, and getting around to all these different cycling clubs and meeting all new people has been really special. You hear me telling one of the boys a little bit about what we're doing. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about this course. So first up, Eastern Cycling Club. They host races all around Victoria. And they don't just do crits, they do TTs, there's road races, there's handicaps, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with Eastern. So if you are over 30, and that's the big caveat with this, it is a Masters club. If you're over 30, make sure you hit those guys up, because it's an amazing club with great atmosphere. So this particular crit is held at Holloway Drive, which is quite close to the basin near the Dandenong Ranges. It took us just over an hour to get here. It was 33 k's away, so we did have to hustle to make it in time. But the great thing, the really special thing about this crit is the presentations are held at a brewery, so stick around to see some of the presentations later on. It does get a little bit hectic. Alright, so we're doing our first lap of the course, and they do first lap neutral. So let's quickly flag out a couple of riders to watch. Number 1, Green Kit. You see him on the left-hand side there. That's Tom Williams. This guy, he's on a Propel. He is a sprinter, to say the least. He's a big old powerhouse. And you'll see sprint later on, but rumour has it that there's normally a 2 starting off with his max watts. So if you can figure out what I mean by that, yeah, there's big power to be had there. But does he have the engine to get all the way to the end of the race? We're going to have to stick around to find out. Obviously, you saw before, Josh is on top of the ladder for the 7 and 8 crits, and I need to do a number over him today in order to take out this race. And look, we're just trying to figure out, are we turning left here? There's lots of pointing going on, and look, you can see marshals on every corner as well. It is, they try to make it a closed circuit, but inevitably it is a business park, so there are cars and trucks driving around, so you just got to be mindful and look out for your fellow riders when you are racing in that. Look at the rear cam, look how happy everybody is. What an awesome race. We're coming into the start-finish line just around this corner, so it does have a sweeping hill here. So it's really important that you do time your sprint, because the sprint does come into a slightly downhill sort of thing there. So just keep all that in mind. The other thing you need to be mindful of is the wind. You can see here, so as it sweeps around, we're into a crosswind. So making sure you're sitting on, for this situation, on the left-hand side of the rider in front of you, to make sure you're getting the best possible coverage as you can. The surface of the course, fantastic. Couple little bumps here and there, but nothing to be too alarmed about. But that is a full lap of the course. Now let's get stuck straight into some racing. And we didn't have to skip too far as we watched Nicko to think the course is straight, and only in the last minute make that left-hand turn. And
you forget about that corner?
Everyone gives him a little bit of lip about that as well, which is fair enough. We've already been through there once, mate. Oh, we love it. We're all a little bit fried at the end of the 7 crits in 8 days. We've got another group we're just passing with, plenty of space on the right-hand side. And you can see the van here on the left. Everyone's really mindful. This is an open road, so there are cars that can still come by, and it's just about being mindful and care for your fellow competitors and mates that are out in the course. So the first move has just snuck off the front. The race has begun, but will this one rider be able to stay away for 38 kilometres essentially on his own? Maybe, maybe not, but it's at this moment Speedy decides to spark things up and sends one off the front. We all give him lip, and it's only followed by Josh. He's just as bad. There goes Tom Williams and a few other riders, so they're obviously seeing this one as a bit of a threat. So we're coming into this corner, but it is still very early in this race, so obviously that's going to be brought back quick smart. We'll skip forward to another part of this race. I'm not sure if the locals were a huge fan of us rocking up, but the race has been on for the last 10 minutes. There's been little attacks going up the road left and right, and now it's kind of all come back together where everyone gets to take a bit of a deep breath and reassess the situation. But little do we know, there's a few hitters in this race, and look how fast everyone's taking around this corner, nice and fast as we just come out of the headwind section, so straight into the crosswinds. I'm sitting to the left hip of Speedy here just to get a little bit of protection, just to stay nice and safe. As I slowly move up the road, you see Josh Brooker's been the main culprit, keeping the pace nice and high. Sitting behind his wheel is Tom Williams, the sprinter. And this is when the move goes. That number 3, Trivello in the white kit, that's Al. He's a very, very strong TT rider. So we've just got a group of riders that have just snuck off the front, Speedy featuring in that group. And I have to spike up to 800 watts to sort of semi-close that gap, but I don't want to be the one that does it. So then there's this guy, look in the rear cam, sprinting to get across to this move. He sees this as a threat. But the man's just dropped a huge watt bomb to get across from that, burn a whole bunch of matches just as he gets there. I've been sitting in threshold just above, and we're into that downwind section now, and everybody is freewheeling. So he's just burned a major match just to get across to a group that he probably just needed to sit into our group and let us to drag him across. But he saw there was a threat there. Coming to this fast corner here, 44 kilometres an hour. I've left that corner way too late, run it real wide. Straight back onto the gas into the headwind section. But look at those 2 riders that have snuck off the front there. Now they are a bit of a threat. I spoke about before, Al Adams, yeah. So we've raced against him a few times at Southern Masters Cycling Club. Super aero sort of character, and is just good at threshold, can just stay away all day if need be. But when it comes to him riding within the group, doesn't like to pull a turn, which is smart racing, so you have to respect that. So if I see these guys go up the road, keeping in mind that I am very fatigued and the legs are very tired, I just want a break to go so that the peloton can just roll turns to keep them in check. I'm really struggling with this constant surging, but the right makeup of riders have not gone up there, and you can see Josh has just put a little bit of pressure on the pedals, and I've been caught behind number 19 in the red kit here. Now I don't realise this is a huge threat. Josh doesn't really look like he's working too hard to keep everybody too motivated. I'm alright with this, so I give this guy a little bit of a nudge, give him a little bit of a push up the hill. You know, come on mate, you can get across to that. That's nice and easy. But when I sit back in his draft and then pop my head back out, I'm looking at this gap and they're going away. There's pressure being put down. 47 kilometres an hour. I'm pushing 500 watts in order to get across from that. I'm not too sure if I should stay in this guy's draft or not, but the time has come where that gap's really starting to blow out. I'm like, all right, well, I need to get onto this now. So I rip into this corner, 50 k's an hour, put the foot down to the outside, use all the entire road. And if you catch a glimpse into the rear cam, there are splits everywhere. So keeping in mind, I'm now in the headwind section of the course. So you can imagine if I had the chest cam on, you'd see me really tucked up, trying to get as small as possible, which is going to reduce the amount of watts I'm going to have to put out to get across this group, and the byproduct of that is making it harder for the guy behind me and the group behind me to sit in my wheel. So now we're into the crosswind section. I've got to get across 500 watts. I think I'm almost there, but look at the heart rate, 180 beats. It's starting to redline. I'm starting to real struggle here to get across to this, and the gap looks small. The riders may be plus 30, but it doesn't change the fact that we've got some proper hitters here down at Eastern that are happy to put the visitors under a fair bit of pressure. But it looks like we've got across to them now. The peloton has been decimated. You can see there are huge gaps everywhere. It's going to be really, really hard for the entire group to come back unless there's a huge amount of sitting up to be done. But Al here's keeping the pressure high. He's having a bit of a glimpse behind. He's like, okay, we've been caught, so I'm just going to filter right back to the group. Catch my breath if you can, but now you can see Speedy's full gas on the front, and I don't know if you just caught a glimpse there, Nicko has been able to stay with. That's been a magnificent ride from him. He's ridden real smart to stay with this group as we've now exploded what's left of the peloton. There's probably only 8 or so riders left in this race, so the cream has risen to the top here. So we've skipped forward now to just under 23 minutes, and it's been on and off, but the peloton has been split and we've just been rolling pretty solid turns to stay away. But the pace is low. Look here, 33 k's an hour, and it's there where you notice the man in the white kit. There he is again, Al, the TT specialist, followed very closely by Tommy Williams in the green kit. The 2,000 watt sprinter boy have now crept off the front. And you know what? I am happy days with this. I'm happy with them to go away because it means there's no surging, there's going to be no attacks. Josh, Speedy, and myself can roll turns because we've got a little bit of a game plan up our sleeve for this one. We are trying to get Nicko a win. We want to get him a win in this one, so we're going to try to protect him. He's our protected rider for this race. We're not too sure how it's going to play it. We've never done it before, and we're hopeless at team sort of stuff, so it's only trial and error to see if it's going to pay off. We're going to try to let those boys stay at the front, and there's a bit of discussion here. You know, Joshy is the strongest man here. Don't close it too early, because as soon as you close a break like this, the next one's going to go. So you want to keep that distance. We've spoken about this in a few other videos. You want to keep that distance nice and far apart, that the guys in front are always under pressure to keep on the pedals, whilst we can kind of monitor the effort, and if we need to, close it within a lap. That's kind of what we're aiming for. So we've got Hayden in the rear cam, really strong rider, races down at Caulfield Carnegie. He's one of our expert marshals, so I've spent a lot of time riding with him, and he's got some extremely talented daughters that are ripping up the world tour scene at the present time. You may have heard of Neve Bradbury. Yep, that's right. That is Hayden's daughter, and he has taken after them. Maybe not in their climbing abilities, but yeah, it's yet to be tested. But nonetheless, he's still an extremely strong rider, and again, someone we need to watch out for in the latter parts of this race. So we're happy with the gap. We're happy with what we need to do here, and so now we're just going to keep continually rotating the front, rotate strike, to keep that gap within a closing distance, but making sure we're keeping Nicko nice and safe and fresh for later on.
Yeah, so we just got to close it slowly. If we close it too soon, he'll go again.
Bit of discussion going on at the front. I think Brooker's getting a little bit frustrated that we're just basically dragging the entire peloton around with us. Look, there's no denying our emotions and tempers and patience are a little bit fried after riding 7 crits in 8 days. And this was Joshy throwing a bit of a tantrum, which is fine. I had my tantrum on Wednesday, on Thursday, even Friday I probably had to throw a better tantrum. Saturday definitely threw a tantrum. So we're all allowed a couple of tantrums, and that's absolutely fine too. But Joshy's just worried about this getting too far away. He's worried about everyone sitting in and us just doing the work to drag them all across. But
yeah, Brooker, let's start ramping it.
There you heard it, folks. I've made the call to start to pick up the tempo in order to bring Al and Tom back from their mega breakaway, which has been off the front for, I'm going to give them 25, 30 minutes. It's been a huge effort. We've got to do this bring back. We've got to bring them back slowly, because if we just smash it, it's, 600 watts to get across, we're going to drop Nicko, who we're trying to ride for today. So we've got to do it in a way that protects him. So do it in the headwind section so he can stay protected, and try to just slowly ease it in the crosswind to make sure he's protected there as well. So that's what we're doing now. We're on the gas, 48 kilometers an hour coming into this tailwind, downhill section rather, into this corner. You can see me swinging right to see where the cones are, so I know we're going to be hitting it quick. I'm in the drops. Oh, pushing it right to the very limit. They're using all the roads. But what we're not noticing is we're putting Nick under pressure right now. He's not been able to keep the same amount of speed through there, and now he's been forced to ride, put a big effort to come back. So let's talk a little bit about the breakaway. Tom Williams has decided to drop back into the main field. He's the sprinter boy. He's looked behind a few laps earlier. This was like, look, the boys are too close. I'm burning matches staying out here. This is not for me. So we've left Al, the TT specialist, off the front there. There you can see him in the distance, probably only 5 or so seconds in front of us. He's going to try to TT all the way to the finish. Who knows? Even when you're this close to being caught, all it takes is a few people to stop rolling turns, and that gap can blow out very, very quickly again. But 4Ks left, there's not that many laps remaining, and anything can happen.
What's the plan? He's cooked up. Yeah, great. Oh, okay. Back it off. Let's get his energy back. Well, Nicko, you got to give us 30 seconds of sprint, but let him recover now because everyone's here. Mate, we've only got one card. We've got to go all in. Like, fuck it. Who cares?
There you had it, folks. This is why we're not a team, because we really don't know what we're doing. Not too sure if you caught it, but a quick recap of what just went down between a conversation between me and Brooker is the pace was too high earlier, and we dropped Nicko. We burned a match, and now he's a little bit fried. We've got to now bring the pace back down. We're going to try to make him recover as much as we can, keep him nice and safe, knowing full well that there is 1.3 Ks left until this finish. Only a couple of laps to go. How are we going to get this guy in the break? How are we going to get Nicko in a position to lead him out with still some strong boys in the break? Who knows? We'll soon find out.
We're going to have to lead him out for a sprint.
Boom, there goes Tommy Williams. But we all look around and we're like, what's this guy doing? We haven't even got bell lap yet, and the guy's launched the biggest attack off the front and an all-out sprint, but we're all looking around trying to figure out what to do. We got the call to up to go by Nicko, so we did. We planted it. Josh attacked. I followed his wheel, and there we go. We've got the bell, and there is a decent gap behind. Speedy's working with Nicko to try to close the gap. We're coming into this corner very quickly. Oh, just kept it on the inside, and someone's clipped the pedal. Look in the rear cam. Riders are across the road. It's starting to get real hairy into this last lap. It's at this moment we catch up to Tom on the left here.
All right, let's give Speedy the win.
And we're not too sure what to do. We're looking at Tommy like, what have you done, mate? You just blew yourself up with the lap to go. Not too sure what the tactics are there. You heard me speak to Brooker. Hey, let's try to get Speedy the win if that's the case. So I'm going to try to lead out Speedy, who is, and he will agree with this, not a sprinter. He's Max Watts would, yeah, it's decent, but it's not, he's definitely not a sprinter. So we're going to try to figure this out. We're not too sure how it's going to play out. Nicko has, he's given it all this race. I think he's still with us, but I'm not exactly sure. I think that last attack from Tom Williams blew him up. So we're going all in on Speedy, which means I need to keep the pace high, hoping that he's going to roll me over the front, but I don't know how to lead him out as he's not really a sprinter. So with about 100 meters left, this is when the sprint goes. I try to keep the body upright to give him the draft, but I'm sprinting with a fair way to go here. There's got to be, I don't know, 200 meters. There's probably another 20 seconds of sprinting to be had, and that's when Joshy comes up on the inside. He's picked the line perfectly in the draft, and even with 1,000 watts, I've got nothing left in the legs. He takes out first. I'm second. Not exactly sure who came third, but that's a wrap. That is Eastern Cycling's crit to a T. I hope you enjoyed that one. What a race. Absolute ball. Joshy's like, I don't know really what happened there, but it is what it is. And I think it's right now the realization of the finish of the 7 and 8 is finally over. I now understand how Frodo feels when he chucks that ring into the volcanic pit of Mordor. We have finally completed the 7 and 8 crit challenge. Man, it was harder than I thought, but I loved every single minute of it. And I want you who are watching this video to join us next year. Check out this QR code, give that a scan and register your interest. And this might be being a little bit silly, but register your interest, or if you're on your phone, click the link in the description. Sign up and I'll pin you for the next 7 and 8 next year. But now let's jump to presentations and check all that stuff out.
We've got to ride home after this.
40k.
So as you can see, presentations took place down at the Hard Road Brewery, and Eastern Cycling and Mornington know exactly how to do it. Having a wrap-up at a brewery, man, big ticks. So we all gathered here, and the guys at Eastern and girls were absolutely amazing, but the problem was a lot of rounds were bought for us, so we got a little bit sauced up, to be completely honest. It was a rough old ride home, but let's have a little bit of a look at the points. So after that massive win down at Eastern, Josh takes out the overall win with a total of 47 points. Huge result from him. He picked up 10 points in this race. I picked up 6, so I finished on 28 points, and then Speedy picked up a couple of extras and Nicko finished on 9. But wait 1 minute, I've just been handed a little piece of paper with 2 penalties and bonus points. Wow, look at this. Nicko picking up a nice bit of 5 points here for keeping the morale high. Paul Speed 5 points, best behaved, no meltdown and tantrums, and then there's penalties. Brooker lost 5 points for poor Sunday prioritisation, and I've lost 5 points for sleeping in. This is going to change up the total results. Let's get them up on the screen right now so we can have a bit of a look. And there we have it. I've gone down to 3rd because of sleeping in. By 1 point, Paul Speed sneaks into 2nd. Man, absolute game changer, those results. I'm glad you stuck around to see that. That's a big upset, and I'm not going to lie, I'll be lodging an official complaint straight after this video to the 7 and 8 crew about that. But I think it's about time we got on our bikes and started our journey home. But we didn't get far until we found ourselves at the local McDonald's smashing down a couple of quarter pounders, which made sure we had enough fuel for this epic ride home.
Still out, the batteries are low. We're on a bike path, there's storms imminent, there's storms everywhere. We finished Eastern, slammed 5 beers in an hour, did a slop stop at Macca's. The boys are having a good time. We're on a bike path. I don't know where this goes actually. The Blind Creek Trail. Hit us up in the comments if you've ridden on this before. I don't know how long I've been riding for, but it feels a long time. The energy from the beers have worn off. Praying that the Macca's quarter pound is still going to fuel me to the finish. I don't actually know where we are, but there's been a few storms and lightnings about, so we're trying to play it safe. We're sticking on the bike trails. Just want to get home. Dodging hailstorms, thunder and lightning. We're finally on the way home. Springvale Road. About to turn off shortly. Wow, 7 crits in 8 days, we're done. We're finally done and dusted. What a journey it has been. Like, Monday feels like months ago, and I'm just so proud of all the guys to have finished this epic race, epic series. It's been an absolute ball to spend some time with the guys, talk absolute garbage, have a few beers and have fun with each other. That's what riding's all about. So, if you've enjoyed this, you know what you need to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, throw us a few shekels if you like it. But that's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, milkmaids and mermaids, thank you again for watching. You've been absolute legends. I'll see you next time.
I smelt roast pork. You know when human flesh cooks? It smells like pork.